Hi everybody, Lisa here with another Vera Bradley bag of the day. Um, Today I thought I would talk about a bag that's sort of like one of my new favorite bags, um, which is the work tote, which is a performance twill style. And I know I recently did a video on this style in the pattern Garden Dream, but there are a couple of things that I've sort of since learned about it, just minor things, but that I didn't mention in the first video, and so I thought I would do another video to mention them, and also show this pattern. And not everyone's watching all the videos, so I figure it doesn't hurt to do another video on the bag. Maybe people are more interested in this pattern than the other pattern. And so plus I love the bag so much, I just wanted to talk about it more. So this is Park Stripe, which is the most current performance twill pattern. And again, like I said, this is the work tote. And when this pattern first came out, I saw it on the website. And this was before the coronavirus and the store closings and everything. I did see it on the website, and I thought it looked pretty flat, which is what happens to me with a lot of the patterns. And I think it must be something to do with the lighting and the way that they're photographing these bags. But when I saw it in a signature store, I really thought it looked much better. It was much more appealing, and the pattern looked much richer. And so, I started to think about it a little bit more, but I still wasn't really aware of this style. I mean, I had heard of this style, but I hadn't, I still wasn't really that focused on it. And I tried it on in the store in the Glenna. But I just was feeling like it's very light. The color is very light, and sometimes I feel a little self-conscious carrying a big light color bag. I feel like I feel like I should be down in Florida wearing white pants, which is not an insult to Florida. I love Florida. I mean, to be in Florida wearing white pants is the dream. but I'm not there yet. And so I always felt a little self-conscious with a light-colored bag. And plus, I was for some reason very focused on the pale stripe pattern in the background of this fabric. It immediately made me think of like mattress ticking, although it's not mattress ticking. It's not a mattress ticking stripe. But it just made me think of that, or like men's business dress shirts with the thin vertical stripe. That's what I thought. And I thought it didn't seem to go with the floral motif. But I like the bag style so much that I sort of overcame that. And I do have to say, with this color scheme, I think is very luxe looking. It's very rich looking, and not as the light just popped in well there, the exposure, or it's not quite so pale as I initially thinking it was. And it reminds me, if people are familiar with the movie Basic Instinct, and most people have seen that, by now, and maybe they've seen it more than once. I love the movie, and so I tend to, whenever I see it on TV, I tend to watch it. And so when you get past you're not focusing so much on the story anymore, or the sex anymore. and I definitely think Sharon Stone did a really good job with that character, and I think she doesn't get enough credit because, people are just focused on her looks, and she's so spectacularly good looking that people sort of don't pay attention to her acting. But I think she did a really good job in that role and other roles that she's been in. But if you notice when you're watching that movie and you're not focusing on all those other things, and you can start to look around at like the set design. I mean, the houses are spectacular and the cars are great. And her wardrobe is beautiful. And it has this very rich, expensive look, all neutrals, white and beige and pale, metallic golds, silvers, and that's what this kind of color scheme reminds me of, and this gray background reminds me of. There's sometimes in a gray a gray kind of neutral palette really can look very elegant and luxurious and rich. And I feel like this color scheme reminds me of that. And also, I feel like it almost has a slight sheen, but that's because of the fabric. The fabric has that slick feel. It's water repellent, and it just feels delicious. I mean, I'll never fully abandon the cotton, but this really has a great hand feel, and of course that great macro square quilting. But when you get up real close to these flowers, hopefully the exposure will, right itself, and that is very good. You can see there's complexity in the tones are pale, but it's not just one tone. It's a variety of tones. There's that like dove gray and a very pale pink and lavender and mauve and the deeper blues, and it really is luxurious looking and complex, and definitely I feel like it has more depth in the rendering than it looked on the screen on the website where it looked flatter. You can see the stripe there too. Still not crazy about the stripe. I would just prefer a solid gray background. But anyway, so I decided to give this pattern a shot, and I really love it. And I did use this bag. I have used this bag running out to the grocery store when grocery shopping, more grocery shopping for my father. So the next time I have to drive to New York, I'm going to bring him some more stuff. So anyway, the first thing I wanted to mention, I will go over the dimensions on this bag, but one of the things I wanted to mention that I sort of touched on a little bit in my previous work tote video was about washing a performance twill. And I had said that I'm in this focus group, and one of the women had taken a chance with one of her performance twill backpacks, and it had gone through the wash really well. And she had pictures and everything. But it still didn't convince me that I could necessarily just throw this in the washing machine, because I didn't know if there's a base in there, but it's not removable, and I didn't know if it's the same thing in the backpack as is in here. But someone else in the group also got in on the performance tool discussions, and she has a work tote, and she threw it in the washing machine, and she said it went through fine. Can't even tell it's been washed. I mean, it just came through perfectly, air dried. Threw it in I'm sure she probably did it in cold temperature and air drying it. And so that just was really nice to know. I feel like now, I mean, my hesitation about a light pattern usually doesn't have anything to do with dirt. I mean, I'm kind of OCD about pattern placement, but I'm not so OCD about grime. And so, that wasn't my concern, and washing it wasn't really my concern, but it's just nice now to know. I feel comfortable to have that option. I can throw these bags in the washing machine. The other thing that I didn't talk about, and I did talk about this feature, which is the interior. There's an interior divider that functions as a laptop. It's a laptop sleeve, and I will show that and everything. And I did show that in the other video, but I didn't talk about the dimensions on it, which just never even occurred to me could be a factor for some people with their laptops. And it actually was a factor for someone else in the focus group. And so, she was finding that her laptop was too big. It fit this way, but it was too tall, and it was sticking out of the slot. And she couldn't close. There's a strap I'll show that goes over the divider there to secure your laptop in there, and she couldn't close that over the top of her laptop, the edge of her laptop, and that she was frustrated with that. And it just never occurred to me that would be an issue, because my laptop, which I can't put in there to show you because I'm filming on it, but it's on the smaller side. And it just fits, fit right in there and sort of disappeared. It's kind of swimming in there. So I did measure. I tried as best I could to measure that slot for people this time around, because I didn't do that in the other video. And just thought I'd mention that for, it might be an issue for some people with bigger laptops. Okay, so basic dimensions on this, I'll start with the strap, which is one of the main reasons that I love this bag so much. The strap drop is 12, and the straps stay on my shoulder really well. And I think that has to do with the fact that they taper. They attach to the bag with these loops, these metal hardware loops, which I like because they make the straps flop down nice. The straps lie nice along the sides of the bag when they drop down, and I think that adds to the overall kind of sleek look of the bag and the fabric. But when the straps start out, the width here is 1 inch and 1/8, but then they taper at about here. You feel them start to taper, and so this part of the strap that goes on your shoulder is 3/4 of an inch. And so that's, a little bit of a reduction there, and that means there's less fabric on your shoulder. And for me, I know everyone's slope here is different. For me, I think that's really why this is staying on my shoulder so well, is because there's less fabric sort of fighting for position on my shoulder and sort of, slipping off of the curve of from my neck into my shoulder. And it's very comfortable. So, and it's a 12-inch strap drop, which means that for me, I'm 5'4", so my limbs aren't that long, and so maybe if you're taller and you have longer limbs, maybe this wouldn't be the case for you. But when I go like this, my elbow doesn't, knock into the top of the bag, and so that's nice. It's not, a deal breaker for me if my elbow does hit the bag, but I just noticed that it was very easy to get on and off like that, and so I like that. The top of the bag, this is something I did notice when I was doing the other video, but it's such a small dip that I didn't really I wasn't sure it was even worth it to mention, but I'll mention it here. You can see that the top edge of the bag dips just slightly towards the center. And from here to here is about 17. But the zipper, which is a recessed zipper, sort of on a flap, of material here, and it sticks up. The end is here. That is 14 inches. So it's not quite, it's not the full width of the bag. So, and I tend to tuck this in. So you can see there's sort of openings at the edges there. But, like I've said in the other video, that doesn't bother me at all. No one's getting their hands in there. And it has that hidden slip pocket like on the Vera totes. So that's nice. I use that. I like that feature a lot. And this top zipper is a newer plastic silver tone zipper. I love it. It's great. I really like that new zipper. And I love the ribbon pull tie here, as I mentioned in the other video, because it's got this real grosgrain. It's a grosgrain ribbon, and it's got that real grosgrain texture you can feel, and I like that. So then from top to bottom, it's about 11, 12 inches tall. But when you measure, so I know I said it was about 17 across the top, but when you measure from, as the side seam, and so when I measure across the body of the bag from one side seam to the other, I think that was about 20 inches. Yeah, 19 to 20 inches. The base is 6 by 13 inches. Let's make sure I didn't forget any other dimensions. Okay, and so then the laptop section, which I will get to, but let's see if I can just sort of show it. I still have all my stuff in here. But this laptop divider thing, which is 2 pieces of foam, it's foam padded, you can feel it, and that's 9.5 from vertically by 15 this way. So this person in the group wasn't having a problem with the 15-inch measurement, dimension. Her laptop slid in. It was that 9.5 dimension. Her laptop was longer in that dimension. And so you see there's this sort of strap that folds over that and attaches. There's a piece of Velcro, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There's another piece there. And on the other side of this sort of strap, there's a little bit of elastic there, so there's some give. And she couldn't get this fastened all the way, so she was frustrated with that. Yeah, I would be too if my laptop were sticking out. I mean, I don't know if it affected even the top zip and whether she could close it or not. I don't remember if she mentioned that. But certainly if that happened, I don't think I would keep the bag, because you want to have some kind of covering over your laptop if you're out and about and maybe it starts to drizzle or something. Okay, so another reason why I'm drawn to this bag is because of this divider. I mean, like, I don't even know if I always would need it to be a laptop divider, but I started to think about how else can I use this bag, and I like the thinking of like sometimes if I, waiting for my car to be serviced or whatever, and I bring my knitting, and so I would, this is nice because I could keep my typical bag stuff that I bring, my wallet, my phone, other things, on one side. And then I could keep all my knitting, which I don't want to get caught up in that stuff, my yarn and my needles and whatever, in the other side, and they're completely separate. Because this divider, not only is it sewn in at the ends of the bag, but it's sewn in at the bottom, at the base. It's tacked down. So nothing is slipping underneath it, from one section into the other. So I like that. So just for knitting, it really appealed to me. Of course, nobody's going anywhere now, right? I don't know if I'm going to be bringing my knitting anywhere. But anyway. So just to make sure I don't forget to talk about the exterior pockets, which are also very nice. You have this big slip pocket on the front. This is technically the front of the bag, and there's a big slip pocket there, and then there's zipper pocket on top of it. And the zipper is also that plastic, metallic color zipper. It's great, works great. And on the other side, another big slip pocket, but it has a zipper underneath, and you can unzip it and it becomes a trolley sleeve. I mean, I do have rolling luggage. It's not Vera, but I assume those kinds of measurements, dimensions are kind of standard, so I just assumed this would slip over those handles on my rolling luggage. But I mean, to be honest, I'm not getting on a plane anytime soon. I mean, you would have to give me such a boatload of money to get me on a plane anytime soon. I'm not going anywhere unless I'm going in my car to my dad. Okay, so I think that's everything on the outside. So in here, I'll just show what I have. Well, I might as well put it on, but while I've got stuff in it so people can see what it looks like, and then I'll empty it out. See if I can get it a little less bright. I don't know. See if I can get a little less blown out. So as I said in the other video, I like that it has this width, like it has the width of the Vera, comparable width to the Vera, but it's not as tall. And in my other video, I do put a Vera on with this on the other shoulder, and you can see the length difference. I mean, the Vera comes down to about here. So it's really making a difference for me in that. I like that it has more of a rectangular look. It is, without looking too much east-west. Like the Mandy looks too east-west for me. People are familiar with the Mandy. Because this has more height, that counters that real narrow rectangle east-west kind of feel. So I do like it very much. And I like that when you fill it up, it's got a nice width to it. It's got sort of a chubby look to it. I like that. Again, the base was six roughly this way. So that's a good width. I tend not to like a bag that's too flat to my body. I don't like that so much because I feel like it looks kind of anemic. Like, why am I carrying such a big, thin bag? If you need a big bag, you need the width. It's like the sleeveless turtleneck. I don't understand that. if it's cold enough that you need a turtleneck, then why don't you need sleeves? What are you doing with no sleeves? So now I can take stuff out, show how I have stuff in here as best I can, and then show the lining, because the lining is so beautiful in this. Every now and then there will be a pattern where the lining, I feel like, kind of pushes me over the edge to get the bag. Maybe I like the exterior pattern, but I'm not, head over heels. But the lining will push me over the edge, and this is one of those bags. So on one side, I have my Carson cell phone crossbody in one of the big slip pockets. I'll get to the pockets inside. But I just wanted to call out that I really appreciate that these patterns this season are all sort of related. I mean, they coordinate well without being matchy-matchy. Because if you look at this, big sort of rose-like full flower, and you look at something like Garden Grove, you really see the relationship. And so you can use these patterns together and coordinate without, like I said, without being super matchy-matchy. And then you get this kind of a more open flower. And that's sort of similar to this one here in style, flower style. And even this particular item doesn't have too many of the smaller flowers, but there are in Garden Grove, there are these smaller flowers. And you've got smaller flowers here in this pattern as well, sort of mimicking that. So I really like that very much, that relationship. So I just tend to use the Carson cell phone crossbody as, extra padding around my cell phone in a bag. I always take the strap off. Strap's removable. I just slip it off, and I never use the strap. Then I have a mini dome cosmetic. It was just placed on top of some other stuff. This is Fruit Grove. And again, you can see the relationship, because you've got these, smaller flowers around that big flower, sort of related to these. It's sort of a similar look. I like that very, very much. It's great. Also in there I have my all-in-one crossbody that I'm using as a wallet. And this is kind of a little chubby item, and it fits nice in there. And my typical charger cord thing that I use as a charger cord pouch, the Lighten Up Medium Cosmetic, and my GPS pouch, which is not Vera. The horror. And this is what I had been, in my other video, I was using something else for my latex gloves, and I was not 100% satisfied with it, and I had said I had ordered something new. I think it was that video. And this is what I ordered, which is, I think it's called the Midtown cosmetic. I think I have another one here. I ordered two. Oh yeah, I do have the other one here. And they just came, and I'm really pleased with it, because it has the zipper position the way that I like for my gloves, where it's a double zipper pull, which is nice. So you get two, there are two zipper pulls. It lays flat. Not crazy about this interior color. This is Garden Grove, and this is the solid interior color. But they have these mesh sides, and people are familiar with the Midtown stuff. They know it has that sort of cushy, padded feeling, which is kind of nice. Feels good. Then it has these mesh zipper sort of pouches, flaps that keep stuff contained on both sides. But really, I just wanted, and on the outside it has a pocket, a zipper pocket, like your standard, cosmetic pouch. But I wanted something that where the zipper, even if, it's nice that it has two zipper pulls, and that's helpful, but it would have worked even if it only had one. I wanted something where the zipper went all the way down to the base, so that I could keep it slide it into my bag this way, vertically. Just have it be like this, with the top zip, what is now the top portion of it facing up, so I can just reach in and pull out a glove when I needed to. And that's what I was doing, you know, with my gloves, just sort of shoving them in there. And then when I need one, I reach in and pull it out, and I can just keep the zipper like this. So the gloves aren't going to slip out, but I don't have to mess with the zipper to get the gloves out. So that it's working really well, and I like that it sort of has a flatter profile. It slips in better, and it makes use of the space a little bit better. Let me just check the name. There's one, should be a tag on here. Midtown Cosmetic. So this is Garden Grove. If I didn't say that, I finally got a poppy. I mean a pansy. I was complaining in my work tote video that I didn't really get good pansy placement. That's what I was looking for. That grouping is beautiful. Is the back, but you know, what are you gonna do? It's the front. But I got another one because, you know, I figure like sometimes I might want to wash one. And so I got one in Cornflower Blossom. Is that what this is? Midtown Cosmetic Cornflower Blossoms. Now this pattern, I do like the lining color better, which is a light blue. And I do like this pattern. I have a hipster in this, and I did do a video on that. This is sort of a whimsical pattern, and the paisleys in it are kind of crazy, and so it's a little bummed I didn't get any really of the paisley, but that's kind of a nice grouping of 3 flowers right there. You can see the different tones of blue in this flower, which is very pretty, and oddly, same grouping on the back. Odd coincidence. So, you know, good enough. So I have an alternate now to switch out. I don't technically know what the washing care instructions were for this on the website, but I think I would take a chance and throw a cold, gentle cycle. I think I would. Okay, so on the inside of the work tote, I still have a couple of things in here. Just a couple. I have my hand sanitizer and various ID cases that I use to keep photos, and masks, and a pouch that I use to, when I take the mask off, just put it in here, and then I bring it home and wash both things. So inside, on one side of the, and in the divider, I have my iPad mini right now. So on one side of the bag, you get a very big, nice size zipper pocket. Great size. I mean, my iPad mini fits in there, no problem. And that's it on that one side. There's nothing on the other, on the wall of the laptop section. But on the other side, you get these 2 big slip pockets. Nice, they're edged with the fabric, which is nice finishing. And then on this side of the laptop sleeve, there's a large slip pocket, and then a narrower slip pocket, and then, let's see if I can get in a section there on this edge with 3 narrow slots for pens. And again, you can see this, the flap goes over. But I just can't get over this lining, and I've said, I've been saying now for a little while, I wish they would make some of their lining patterns into throws. I think they would be beautiful. Garden Grove would be beautiful. Foxwood Menagerie would be beautiful. Even the bird cages and Cat's Meow would be fun. But this pattern is so nice. To me, they're very reminiscent of pansies. I don't know if technically they're pansies. I love pansies. But I just love the color. I love the spacing on them. You know, they're sort of close together, but not super crammed together. I just think it's so pretty. Again, those very pretty colors. You know, these like kind of lilac, mauve, dove gray, very pale pink, sort of soft blues, gray, bluish gray, grayish blue. So when I saw that pattern, I really kind of that lining pattern. I kind of felt like, oh God, I gotta get some of that. And oftentimes I don't zip this bag up, especially now where I feel like we're not in close contact when you're not in such close contact when you go out. And so I don't always zip stuff up. And so when I'm looking at the bag, I very often can then experience the lining fabric more, which makes me happy. So anyway, that's it. The work tote in Park Stripe Performance Twill. So it's a work tote Redux video. Anyway, I hope people found that helpful, and hopefully see you next time on Vera Bradley Bag of the Day.